Revving up. Hello, everyone. Hello, Facebook family. It's Jennifer D. Wright, and I am here live. I wanted to come on here today because I wanted to talk to some of my fellow children's book authors. And in the room today, I have the magnificent James Tate. And just so if you guys don't know who James Tate is, let me just tell you. James Tate is the holistic wellness practitioner and the owner of Beyond Weight Loss Total Wellness Center LLC. Did I say that correctly, James?
You did.
Okay, and he is also the author of this fabulous book right here, guys. Look at that. He's the author of Kool Kids and the Land of the Giants. Oh, James, hi.
Hey, Jennifer, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. It is so good to see you. For those of you who don't know, I met James when we started doing the book fairs. You remember that, James?
I sure do. I sure do. Good times, really good
They,
times.
they were good times. That was definitely pre-COVID, but it was so much fun to do, James. And I was so impressed by your professionalism and I was impressed by your product. So, James, let me just get right into it. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about you and a little bit more about your book?
All right. So, as you said, my name is James Tate. I'm the author of the children's book, the award winning children's book, The Kool Kids and the Land of the Giants. And the Kool Kids are a group of Christian friends that take on health related giants that have invaded their land. So it's a series, and this is the first book of the series. And in this book, they take on a giant named obesity. So it teaches kids about obesity and it teaches them how to fight and defeat obesity with biblical principles. So I'm a health minister as well. And so it's something that's I'm very passionate about is the word of God and the health of my brothers and sisters and our children. So I wanted to write something that incorporated all of those things. Because the number one prayer request in churches across America is for something health related. And we are pretty much digging our own grave with our knives and forks. And so I wanted to raise up the next generation and equip them with the knowledge and to motivate them as well so that when they grow up, they don't have to deal with the health related giants that many adults are dealing with today.
I see. Oh my goodness, James! I'm so glad that you did this book because a lot of us, we grow up and we're having those good old soul food, and then we grow up to be parents and we have to learn how to be more nutritious for our
Right.
children, not just giving them nutritious food, but being a good example as well. And
Exactly.
for those of you who know me, you guys know that it's funny because of my family and friends, they consider me a health nut. And I swear I don't know why. I think I'm just doing the right thing, like like eating what's going to nourish my body. And I'm like, no, this is how it should be. And I was reading your book and I was reading a little bit more about your story. And I know that it's very personal to you. And I want to know if you could tell our listeners why this is extremely personal to you and your family specifically.
Yeah, so this book is very personal to me. I grew up as that overweight child, overweight teenager and overweight adult. When I played football in high school, my playing weight was about 280 pounds. So I've been big my entire life. And I was involved in an accident in 2007 that left me immobile for a year and damaged the left side of my body. And after that year of being immobile, my weight went to 415 pounds. And my doctors told me my injuries won't heal if I don't lose the weight. And being as though I've never really lost weight like that before, I didn't think it was possible. And then my brother invited me back to church, New Year's service 2010. So I was immobile for a year, and then I had 3 consecutive years of physical therapy. And so I rededicated my life to Christ at First Baptist Church of Glenarden in Upper Marlboro, Maryland, at their New Year's Eve service. And I started reading uh, every scripture about food and started applying it to my life. And I started reading different books about nutrition and praying and fasting. And at the end of that year, my weight went from 415 to 205 naturally. And
Wow.
so that was without a lot of exercise. I still wasn't able to work out. So it showed me the power of nutrition. So I was
Yeah.
blessed to go to nutrition school, get my first certification. I currently have 6. And so I started Beyond Weight Loss Total Wellness Center to motivate, educate, and inspire people to live healthier lives through nutrition and
Mm-hmm.
through the Word of God. So I wanted to write a children's book because there were a few children's books about healthy eating, but they were all the same. But there were none that had scriptures in it at all, and definitely none that had children of color on it. So the Kool
Mm-hmm.
kids, the 2 boys are my sons, and the girl is my niece. And so they're the Kool kids in this particular book. My daughter was not born at the time, but she's going to
Mm-hmm.
be in the next one that's being illustrated now. So it's very personal to me. It's a project that I loved working on. It's something that I wish that I knew when I was growing up, and I wish I had someone to teach me this when I was growing up, so I wouldn't
Yeah.
have to go through everything that I went through
Yeah.
growing up, and so I wanted to raise up this next generation and equip them because they say that this is the first generation of children that will not outlive their parents due to childhood obesity and type 2 diabetes. And so I said, this can't happen on my watch. So anything that I can do to help, I do. And this book is
Mhm.
one of the ways that I'm trying to help.
Oh, James, that is an inspiring story. You have really felt it. And because you really felt it, you were able to put that drop, that mustard seed, that drop into the pond that has rippled out, all to touch as many people who have reached you, who have seen you, and who have seen this book. Okay, because this is important to me as well. Because as a parent, we try very very hard to instill in our kids, what foods would help them and what foods are not assisting them. And it's important in their daily actions, the things that they do every day. It's important in how the nutrition meets their mind and what they're thinking and how they're feeling every day. And I totally, totally agree that the food is a main element, in
It
how
is.
people are able to create their lives. You can do so much more when you are properly gassed up. you know
Right, right. You're right.
yeah.
You're right. And I'm glad that you said it that way because I always tell people your body is like a car, right? Your body is the human body is a multi-million dollar machine. And if you drove $1 million car, what type of fuel would you put in it? And most of the time when I ask people that, they'll tell me premium or 93 octane. And then I follow that up and ask, well, did you put 93 octane in your body today? And then people are
Hmm.
like, no, not really. And so if you put low grade fuel in a high performance vehicle, it's not going to perform the way it was designed to perform. Eventually, it's going to break down and you're going to have to get your engine fixed. And that's what's happening
Hmm.
to a lot of us. We continue to put the low grade fuel in this body. It's not performing the way it was designed to perform. And then we have to get our engine fixed or our heart fixed. And so
Yeah.
I just try to educate people on the right fuel to put in your body so it can run a long, long time.
Yeah. And I think it's important also that you've made it extremely basic and play like, for children to understand this concept. Um, I've always known, because I also had a weight challenge as well. And my weight challenge was, after college, after college, my weight shot up. It shot up really high. I had always been overweight as a child, but after college, it was like really, really overweight. And through a lot of determination, I was able to get my weight way back down. It was like almost 80 pounds that I had lost myself, you know?
Wow. Wow.
And I was,
Congratulations.
and thank you. Yeah, that was a long time ago. I was like 24. But what happened is that what I found is that there was a psychological turn in me because I had never been as thin or as small or physically, capable as I was when I lost that weight. I looked like a completely, James, different person,
Mm.
completely different. To whereas relatives that I would visit on the holiday did not recognize me. And for
Mm-hmm.
me, it was a huge psychological element that I had to deal with over the years. So it's not just the psychological part of it of getting the weight off, but even trying to continue to live a healthier lifestyle. Do you think that with any of your other books that you're going to touch on some of that, like the mental part, like the like children have cravings, because it's a lot more to it than just deciding what to eat. Some people have the habits, that they have to break. And that's mental, like
Mm-hmm.
that's the mental part. That's not the action part. Is
Right.
there any
Right.
way we can touch on that part? Um, do you think that that's something you'll be talking about?
Sure. So I have a lot of things coming down the line. Hopefully they'll come out in 2021 and into 2022. But yeah, I mean, the Bible says be transformed by the renewing of your mind. It doesn't say be transformed by the renewing of your meal plan, right? Everything starts in the mind first. So it's all about changing the way that you think and the way that you look at things. And most importantly, the way that you see yourself. So everything
Mhm.
has to take place in the mind first. And one of the things with the Kool kids is like every book they're going to take on a different giant. So in this one they take on obesity, another book they'll take on high blood pressure, then they'll take on diabetes, they'll take on depression, they'll take on all types of these giants that are destroying our land and the people in our
Mhm.
land today. So any giant that I have faced or any giant that I have seen wreak havoc on my loved ones, my friends, and people that I know, I'm going to include it just to equip the children to identify, to know what they are, to recognize it, and to teach them how to not just fight it, but to be victorious in that battle. Also, I have some other ones about foods, about the benefits of food colors, because each color has a benefit. Like red foods are good for your heart, and green foods are good for detoxifying. So I'm going to teach kids about the benefits of food colors. I'm going to teach kids about different fruits and vegetables and the superpowers within those fruits and vegetables. So I have a lot of things that are coming down the pike here soon, hopefully sooner rather than later. I actually have two books right now that are in illustration. The Kool Kids Part 2 is in illustration now. And then I have another book that my sons, they right now their age is 6 and 4. But maybe a year and a half, almost 2 years ago, they wanted to write a book themselves, and so they came up with a series, and it's actually pretty good. They're very very creative, so that's actually being illustrated as well. So my 6 and 4 year old will be self published authors pretty soon.
Oh, nice. They are getting started early, James. Oh my goodness. That focus. I know they look up to you. Do they look up to you? Are they really
Yeah,
proud? Like, do they understand the concept that you are a published author? Do they get
yeah,
that?
they're excited. They actually it started because they came to me and they said that, Dad, we want to be just like you. And I said, in what way? They said we want to write books, but we can't write that well. And I said, well, you can make things up. You make it up. You tell me the story, and I will write it down for you. And so they made up
Mhm.
one story. They went and huddled up, came back with three different stories, and their imaginations are wild. They are
Oh,
wild. But I mean, it's the mind of children. And so, one of the things as a father that I did not want to be as a dream killer. I didn't want to kill any dreams that they have, especially early on. So I want to help develop their dreams as much as possible. And you and I both know, as a self published author, it's not cheap. So but I wanted, if that's something that they wanted to do when they were serious about it, I wanted to help them as much as possible. So I pinched my pennies. I started saving, and we saved up enough to get it illustrated. And so it's in illustration now. And so I just want to fuel their dreams. I don't want to kill them, especially at this early age. I want to show them that they can do anything that they can put their mind to. And so once they get it in hand, I know they're going to be very, very excited.
Absolutely. Absolutely. James, tell us a little bit more about who your illustrator is with these
Oh,
wonderful
yes,
pictures.
yes, yes. So the Cool Kids is illustrated by the amazing, amazing Jay Reed. So Jay Reed is a illustrator. He's located in California. And man, that brother is amazing. He is amazing. He's a visionary. He can see things, of course, that I can't see, which is the job of an artist and an illustrator. You pretty much tell them what you have on your mind, and then they take what they see in their mind and they put it
Mhm.
together. And he's an amazing guy. He's amazing to work with, and I'm blessed that God paired us and put us together to create
Mhm.
awesome projects like this.
Yes, yes. I'm glad you guys got together too, because it seems like this. I look at it and it seems almost like almost comic, like a comic book almost.
Hmm.
And I have the hardcover, even though it's not. I just want to look at a few pages. Just want to show you guys a little bit. Oh, now this guy in here is you, right, James?
Yeah, that was me when I had hair. But yeah, that's that's me.
I love the illustrations, and it's just so, the colors are amazing, the shadows are amazing, and even the way that you have the children looking, they look like African American children. They look like black children. They're not
Hmm.
just, cartoon images of like a any child type of thing. I love their hair, everything about the images. I love them, James. I thank you so much for making this. This was so nice. Now, let me ask you this. I wanted to ask you about parenting, because I
Hmm.
know that our generation, we have way more opportunities than prior generations, So we are, even though we are still, achieving and searching for more accomplishments and doing the best that we can. It seems as if we may be raising our children a little more different than our parents had raised us. Would you think that is true? And if so, how?
Um, One of the main things is probably the discipline. I always tell my kids, and I always talk to them. I say, man, if I would have did what you just did, it would have been a whole different story with my dad.
Mhm.
It would have been completely different. So
Yeah.
discipline is one. The times have changed too. I mean, kids are exposed to way more than we were. Growing up. Growing up, there was no internet. TV had only a few channels. You were outside most of the time.
Yeah.
Right now, the kids have everything in their pocket, whether it's on a phone, a tablet, some type of device. They have access to every single thing. They could just speak to a device and ask a question and receive an answer. And so they're exposed to so much, and it's way different. The kids that grow up in this technology age, it's much different. I mean, my 6 year old is working on coding. I never would have thought about coding at the age of 6.
Hmm.
So it's just completely different. But it's the discipline as well as the things that they're exposed to. And so some things are good, but there's also a lot of bad out there too. A lot of bad things that we didn't have to worry about growing up. I mean, I could be outside in my neighborhood and go off and run around and do all types of things and run throughout the neighborhood with my friends. And now you really have to keep your kids close because it's just different times that we're living in right now.
Yeah, yeah. It is completely different. It's completely different. And we are raising our children to be more, I feel like, I know I am raising our children to be more conscious, more intuitive, and aware. And just to have it's a different type of survival to whereas where our parents had you have to do what I say, or there are worldly consequences, there are community consequences. As Black people, there will be serious consequences if you're not listening and not disciplined to what your parents are telling you, keeping you close, that kind of way, to whereas now, children, well, maybe all the time, have to be just a little more savvy, again, I know that, my daughter, as spunky as she is, she would not be the high spirited girl that she is had she been raised, you know in much earlier, like earlier to the century times, it's no way, because not only does she have that freedom that I give her, the freedom to speak her mind, the freedom to share her thoughts, but she feels like she is worthy, of being treated well. And I do want all children to feel worthy of being
Definitely.
treated well, 'cause and she also gives that respect to all other people, so yeah, it's parenting is it's not, it's not the easiest thing. But I truly believe that with resources like this, it makes us feel like we can be super parents. Can I be a super parent?
And that's another great thing is that kids today have access to more books and characters that look like them. I mean, I
Yes.
know when I was growing up, all the characters in my books, and none of them looked like me. I couldn't relate to any of them. So
Yeah.
now you have characters that look like you, that have the same hair as you, that have the same nose as you, that live where you live and do what you do and even talk
Mhm.
how you talk. And so it's that's a great thing, and it's great to be able, just like yourself, to be able to create content for children where they can see themselves in a book.
Yes, definitely. Let me ask you, where can we find your book and all the other products that you have? Where can we purchase them, online or what stores?
Yeah, so you can find the book and apparel on my web store, which is www.wealthyentertainment.store. And wealthy is spelled WELLTHY, entertainment.store. If you go there, you will find the book, you will find t-shirts, you will find all types of things on Wealthy Entertainment. You can also find the Kool Kids on the First Baptist Church of Glenarden bookstore on their website. You can order it on their bookstore. You can also find it on the I'm Bookbox website as well, and the Well Read Child website. So we have it in different locations.
Okay, repeat your website for me one more time.
So my website is www.wealthyentertainment. That's WELLTHY entertainment.store. STORE. So no .com, it's .store.
I see. Awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and run that across. But let me ask you this. At the end of every interview that I have, I want to ask this one question. And let me make sure that I just want to get it understood. Um, if there was only three pieces of advice that you could leave with your children that would be guaranteed to trickle down through all the generations after you, what would those three pieces of advice be?
Oh, wow. That's a really good question. The number one answer that I would give them is to, uh, love Christ and follow him. That's the most important thing for me. And that's the one of, like, the most important thing I would leave for my children. Um, that would be number one. Number two, take care of your health. Value your health and make your health a priority. That would be number two, because without your health, you can't do anything. You can't fully enjoy anything. The only thing you can do is pray without your health. So make sure that your health is right. And when I say health, I'm talking about your mental health, your spiritual health, your emotional health, as well as your physical health. Make sure your health is right. And uh, number three would be to I don't know. That's a really good question. So number three, I would say leave the world and your community better than you found it. That's very, very important, because the people that will follow you, you want to leave something, make an impact, and leave it better, so that when somebody, the next person comes along, or the next generation follows you, they can enjoy the fruits of your labor. So that would be the number three for me, is to just, take what you have been blessed with, take what you've been given, and make it better, cultivate it, and make it better for the people that's going to follow you.
Wow. Yeah, I totally agree with that, James. I feel the same way. I think of people like us, people who are doing publications for children to put it out there, and having having our children represented, in the mainstream of publishing children's books. And I often think, wow, in 5 years, my daughter's going to be a teenager, and after that, an adult. And as time goes on, these books that we create will still be here, you know? And I wonder, like, how it has impacted, how it would impact them when they start thinking about what they can do for our communities and whatnot, when they think of us as parents and not just publishers, I think it's amazing work that you're doing, James. I love it. I love it. You are the top guy. I think it's important that we have men, our beautiful Black kings, doing this type of work, showing our sons and daughters, how magnificent life can be when you're following a higher road, when you're living on purpose and whatnot. And I truly believe that I've met so many wonderful people as a publisher who are doing the same kind of work. So I want to say thank you so much, James, for creating this book. And thank you so much for going through even the things that you had to go through to get to this point. So thank you, James.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for all that you're doing for our children as well. You're greatly appreciated.
Thanks, James. This has been so great, you guys. I like I said again, James and I, we did book fairs together, so we were able to see a lot of our customers face to face, interacting with the kids and parents, and seeing the impact that books like this have on our community. So it fuels us. It helps us to be extremely inspired, and to continue to create. So I'm going to go ahead and continue to have these interviews, and I'm so happy that my very first guest has been Mr. James Tate. So thanks again, James. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, thank you for having me. I greatly appreciate it.
Mm-mm. Okay, James. Well, I tell you what, I'm going to see you around. Okay. And we're going to keep in touch, because I'm going to have you on here again. Okay.
All right. Sounds good to me.
All right, James. You have a good evening. To everybody out there, make sure you check out James' website. Make sure you get his fabulous book here. Okay. And just stay tuned because James has more great things that are coming out for you and your children. Thank you guys for staying with us, and we will catch you next time with J.D. Wright and Dana Clark Colors.